There's a town called Don't You Worry, on the banks of River Smile, where they cheer up and be happy, blossom sweetly all the while, where the never grumble flower blooms beside the fragrant tribe, and the ne'er give up and patience point their faces to the sky. In the valley of contentment, in the province of I will, you will find this lovely city at the foot of no fret hill. There are thoroughfares delightful in this very charming town, and on every hand are shade trees named the very seldom frown. Rustic benches quite enticing, you'll find scattered here and there, and to each a vine is clinging, called the frequent earnest prayer. Everybody there is happy and is singing all the while, in the town of Don't You Worry, on the banks of River Smile. On the banks of River Smile. On the banks of River Smile.
Hi, welcome to Classic Tales by the Fireside. I'm Brian. Glad you can join me again for some more stories. Today I'm just gonna read through the book and just kind of share things that I think you'd be interested in. Fun little stories. I'm really gonna have it planned out today. So I'm gonna start with The Little Gray Pony. So let me get a drink of my warm tea and we'll get started. The Little Gray Pony. There once was a man who owned a little gray pony. Every morning, when the birds were singing, the man would jump on his pony and ride away. Clippity, clippity, clap. The man rode to town and to country, to church and to market, uphill and downhill. And one day, he heard something fall with a clang on the stone in the road. Looking back, he saw a horseshoe lying there, and when he saw it, he cried, "What shall I do? What shall I do, if my little gray pony has lost a shoe?" Then down he jumped in a great hurry, and looked at one of the pony's forefeet, but nothing was wrong. He lifted the other forefoot, but the shoe was still there. He examined one of the hind feet and began to think that he was mistaken. But when he looked at the last foot, he cried again, "What shall I do? What shall I do? My little gray pony has lost a shoe." Then he made haste to go to the blacksmith, and he called, "Blacksmith, blacksmith, I've come to you. My little gray pony has lost a shoe." But the blacksmith answered and said, "How can I shoe your pony's feet without some coal the iron to heat?" So the man left the blacksmith hurried here and there to buy some coal. First of all, he went to the store and he said, "Storekeeper, storekeeper, I've come to you. My little gray pony has lost a shoe, and I want some coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe my pony's feet." But the storekeeper answered and said, "Now I have apples and candies to sell, and more nice things than I can tell, but I have no coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe your pony's feet." Then the man went away sighing and saying, "What shall I do? What shall I do? My little gray pony has lost a shoe." By and by, he met a farmer with a wagon, and he said, "Farmer, farmer, I've come to you. My little gray pony has lost a shoe, and I want some coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe my pony's feet." But then the farmer answered and said, "I've bushels of corn and hay and wheat, something for you and your pony to eat, but I have no coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe your pony's feet." So the farmer drove away and left the man singing, "What shall I do? What shall I do? My little gray pony has lost a shoe." But in the farmer's wagon the man had seen corn, which made him think of the mill. So he ran to the mill and called, "Miller, miller, I've come to you. My little gray pony has lost a shoe, and I want some coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe my pony's feet." The miller came to the door in surprise, and he said, "I have wheels that go round and round, and stones to turn till the grain is ground, but I have no coal, the iron to heat, that the blacksmith may shoe your pony's feet." Then the man turned away sorrowfully, and sat down on a rock near the roadside, sighing and saying, "What shall I do? What shall I do? My little gray pony has lost a shoe." After a while, a woman came down the road, driving a flock of geese to market. And when she came near the man, she stopped to ask him his troubles. He told her all about it, and when she had heard it all, she laughed till her geese joined in with a cackle, and she said, "If you would know where the coal is found, you must go to the miner who works in the ground." Then the man sprang to his feet, and thanking the old woman, he ran to the miner. Now the miner had been working many a long day down in the mine, under the ground, where it was so dark that he had to wear a lamp on the front of his cap to light him at his work. He had plenty of black coal ready, and gave some great lumps of it to the man, who took them in haste to the blacksmith. The blacksmith lighted his great red fire, and hammered out 4 fine new shoes, with a cling and a clang, and fastened them on with a rap and a tap. And away they rode, the man and his little gray pony, clippity, clippity clap. Speaking of a miner, here's a little poem called An American Miner's Song. I work in the mines where the sun never shines, and daylight does never appear. With my lamp blazing red on the top of my head, in danger I never know fear. I have a wife and a small family at home in the house, and to meet me I'm sure they'll be glad. They'll stand at the door when I'm on my way home, and they'll say to their mama, "Here's Dad." Miners have to go way, way down underground, which is a weird job to have because you never see the sunlight. It doesn't matter if you're working during the day or if you're working at night, it's the same. It's always dark. So if you like things dark, then you'd make a good miner. But if you like to be in the sun, that would be a good job for you or anybody who likes to be out in the sun and feel the warmth of the sun and hear the birds chirping, because when you're way underground you don't hear anything but probably your hammer and your chisel, sounds they make when they're trying to pick at the gold or to pick at the stone. Let's read about little Gustavo, a little girl who enjoys feeding the animals in the morning. Little Gustavo sits in the sun, safe on the porch, and the little drops run from the icicles under the eaves so fast, for the bright spring sun shines warm at last, and glad is little Gustavo. She wears a quaint little scarlet cap, and a little green bowl she holds in her lap, filled with bread and milk to the brim, and a wreath of marigolds round the brim. Ha ha, laughs little Gustavo. Up comes her little gray coaxing cat, with her pink little nose, and she meows. What's that? Gustavo feeds her, she begs for more, and a little brown hen walks in at the door. Good day, cries little Gustavo. She scatters crumbs for the little brown hen. There comes a rush and a flutter, and then down fly her little white doves so sweet, with their snowy wings and their crimson feet. Welcome, cries little Gustavo. So dainty and eager they pick up the crumbs. But who is this to the doorway comes? Little Scotch terrier, little dog Rags, looks in her face and his funny tail wags. Ha ha, laughs little Gustavo. You want some breakfast too. And down she sets her bowl on the brick floor brown, and little dog Rags drinks up her milk, while she strokes his shaggy locks like silk. Dear Rags, says little Gustavo. Waiting without stood sparrow and crow, cooling their feet in the melting snow. Won't you come in, good folks, she cried, but they were too bashful and stayed outside. Though, pray, come in, cried Gustavo. So the last she threw them and knelt on the mat with doves and biddy and dog and cat. And her mother came to the open house door. Dear little daughter, I bring you some more, my merry little Gustavo. Kitty and terrier, biddy and doves, all things harmless Gustavo loves. The shy, kind creatures 'tis joy to feed, and oh, her breakfast is sweet indeed to happy little Gustavo. You gotta be careful when you start feeding animals, because if you feed an animal, it's gonna keep coming back for more. And then you feed more animals, and they're gonna keep coming back for more. So make sure you want the little animals around when you start feeding them, because they'll keep coming. I remember when I had a bird feeder out here, and then the bird would come, and first you'd have a bird come and eat the seed and fly away, and then it wasn't too long before a couple more birds came with them and started eating, and then they'd fly away, and then pretty soon there was a lot of birds out there trying to get some of that bird seed. And so I had birds everywhere. So it became a little bit bothersome. It's kind of cute when you're feeding one or two little animals, but when they bring all their friends, it can be a little bothersome. So I had to take the feeder down. There's lots of noise and bird droppings everywhere. And keep that in mind when you're ready to feed all the animals in the morning. Now I have something for you to read if you'd like. Whiskey Frisky by a little squirrel. If you'd like to read that, I'll give you a few minutes, and then I'll come and read it out loud. Whiskey Frisky. Whiskey Frisky, hippity hop. Up he goes to the treetop. Whirly, twirly, round and round. Down he scampers to the ground. Furly, curly, what a tail. Tall as a feather, broad as a sail. Where's his supper? In the shell? Snappy, cracky, out it fell. Belling the cat. Long ago, all the mice came pattering from fields and pantries to hold a council meeting. They sat around under a washtub with a candle for light and very solemnly asked, "What shall we do to keep ourselves safe from Pussy? She hides in secret places and suddenly springs out on us, and we do not know she is near. What are we to do?" Well, the mice all wiggled their whiskers and blinked their eyes very gravely. Some said, "Let us do this," and some said, "Let us do that." But at last a young mouse named Big Whiskers proudly rose to his feet. "Friends and fellow mice," he was very sure indeed that he knew more than all the rest, "I know just what we should do. Let us tie a bell by a ribbon around the neck of our foe. Then she will not be able to move without jiggling that little bell. Wherever we hear the bell tinkle, we will always know she is near, and so we'll have plenty of time to scamper out of her reach." With this, Big Whiskers sat down, twirling his showy mustache. Sounds like a pretty good idea. I mean, cats always making sounds. When it moves, then they're going to know that cat's around, right? So I think I have a bell. So the cat's around. Let's get out of here. 3 cheers for Big Whiskers. We vote to follow his plan. Hooray! Cried the other mice. And they all began to talk at once about whether to get a brass bell, or get a silver bell, or whether to use a blue or a pink ribbon to tie the bell on the cat. But at last, the very old mouse, who had not spoken before, got up from the seat. "Wait!" he cried in a voice that startled the rest like thunder. "Big Whisker's plan is fine, but I've only this question to ask. Pray, with all your talking, will one of you answer me this? Who's going to be the one to put the bell on the cat?" For a moment the mice looked foolish and nobody spoke a word. Who indeed would dare to go straight up to the pussycat and tie the bell around her neck? Big Whisker slunk away and hid himself in the corner. Not a single mouse dared. Then the old mouse looked around, peering up over his spectacles, and very sadly said, "It is all very well to talk about doing things, but all that really counts is doing them." Yep, it's good to have all these big plans, but I think they should be practical plans. If they're not practical plans, then you're just wasting your time and you're wasting everybody else's time. So it doesn't do any good to come up with a plan that is not possible to do. That's what the old wise mouse was telling everybody. This happens when you've been around a long time, like the old mouse. It seems like the longer you've been around, the smarter you are. You've seen and done more things than the other mice. So I wonder what they're going to do instead. What if we were at that meeting? What would we come up with? What would we come up with? I don't know. I suppose you'd find out when that cat was sleeping, and that's the time you'd go out and get your food. Seems like the best plan, but then again, who wants to dare try to get the food while the cat's sleeping? Because you'd be thinking, is he really sleeping? Or in this case, is she really sleeping? The Magpies Nest. Once on a time, when pigs spake rhyme, the thrush, the owl, and the blackbird, the sparrow, and the turtle dove all came to call on Madge Magpie. They sat on the branches above her and all began to sing at once. Madge Magpie, oh Madge Magpie, pray, will you teach us how to build such nest as you do upon the swaying bough? There's no one in the treetops who knows so well as you how birds should build their houses. Caw-caw, to-twit, to-hoo. So Madge Magpie fluttered her tail and blinked her eyes and said, "Come sit in a circle about me. If you'll listen, I'll tell you how to build just such nests as I do, way up on the swaying bough." First she took some mud and made it into a cake. Oh, that's how it is done, is it? Cried the thrush. Quick, quick, quick! That's all there is to it. I know it all, I know it all. Quick, quick, quick! And off she flew in a hurry. So that's all the thrush ever learned about how to build a nest. The mad magpie took some twigs and twined them round in the mud. Oh, that's how it is done, is it? Cried the blackbird. Mud and twigs, I saw, I saw. I know it all. Caw, caw, caw. And off she flew in a hurry. So that's all the blackbird ever learned about how to build a nest. The mad magpie put another layer of mud over the twigs. Oh, I knew it all before I came, said the owl. What? Whoo! I knew, I knew. I build my nest as I always do. And away he flew in a hurry. So that's all the owl ever learned about how to build a nest. The mad magpie lined the nest with feathers and soft stuff to make it snug and cozy. If the owl would have stuck around a little longer, he would have had a nice, cozy, soft nest, but he was too impatient like the others. Oh, bother, cried the sparrow. I've heard enough. Chip, 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 chip. I know enough, and now I'll skip. And away he flew in a hurry. So that's all the sparrow ever learned about how to build a nest. The mad magpie looked around and she saw that the only bird left was the turtle dove. But the turtle dove hadn't paid any attention any of the time. She had just kept talking and talking to herself. Madge had a twig in her mouth to weave and make it all firm and strong. When she heard that silly turtle dove crying, "Cuckoo! Take two! Taffy, take two! Take two!" The mad magpie said, "No, you do not take two. Take one. One is enough." But the little turtle dove would not listen. She liked only to talk to herself. "Cuckoo! Take two!" And the mad magpie cried, "Alas, how can I teach silly birds to build nests if they will not listen to what I say?" And away she flew, nor would she ever again tell any of them what to do. They asked her how to build a nest, and none of them wanted to stick around and listen because they all thought they were smart enough. It's like, if you're smart enough to do it, then you shouldn't have to ask for help. So if you ask for help, you should stick around long enough to find out exactly how it's done. And you'll know. I'm going to finish up today with a poem called The Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle all the night. In the dark blue sky you keep, and often through my curtains peep, for you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. And your bright and tiny spark lights the traveler in the dark. Though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star. I like the poems about the stars. Always look at the sky at nighttime, a really clear night. You see all those beautiful twinkling stars. I always think that anything's possible when you look at a starry night. Anything's possible.
They'll say to their children through stories at bed, things aren't always as they seem. So come now, my love, and lay down your head. May you find sweet dreams in fairy trees. Sweet dreams in fairy trees.